What if in the comics, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, was once transported back in time to 1945, where he found himself face to face with none other than an alternate version of himself? To make things even more confusing, both versions of Cap had the same last name of Rogers, which led to the two fighting over the identity of the true Captain America. In Bucky Barnes' 2018 series written by Mark Waid and drawn by Chris Samney. However, this story has some great potential for a movie or TV show. So with that said, let us pretend that the real Captain America from 1945 got to visit Asgard and meet up with some fellow Avengers. Let us also assume that the writers of this comic meant for Steve to get a new weapon instead of just giving him some advice. Now, as the pieces of the heart were scattered throughout space and time, some of its power seeped into the core of a dying star. This infused the star with enough energy to rapidly accelerate its nuclear fusion and caused it to go supernova, giving the planet below it one final bright day in the sky. It was at this moment that the dying star emitted a surge of positive emotions throughout the universe, including hope, courage, and patriotism, all things that Captain America stands for. Then the King of Asgard gives Steve a mysterious nod and says, "Let the dwarves decide your fate. They will forge you a weapon of immense power, if you prove yourself to be worthy." The screen fades to black and we hear Steve say, "I always try my hardest. If they trust me, I won't let them down." The speed of the winds, the wisdom of the stars, and the bravery of all. The metal glows brighter and brighter until it takes on a fiery orange color. Just as the dwarves are about to quench it in the cosmic energies of the forge, Odin steps forward and says, "Hold." He raises his staff and channels his own power into the metal, causing it to glow a brilliant light. He tells Steve, "You have shown great courage and determination, soldier. Now I shall imbue these weapons with your own worthy spirit." This event served as a catalyst, awakening the heart of the universe and transforming it into a sentient being known as the Unipower. They seem friendly at first, but they become slightly agitated. And Steve says that he doesn't want a hammer or an axe. The dwarves are gathered around a pair of gauntlets and greaves that look like they remade of pure white metal. They're decorated with glowing runes that seem to pulse with energy. The dwarves bow before Steve and say, "Captain America." These weapons were forged in the heart of a dying star and blessed by Odin himself. They are yours to wield. The dwarves explain that these are the only weapons they know how to make, and Steve politely declines their offer. He removes his old shield and straps on the gauntlets. With this new Asgardian power, what is the first cosmic threat do you think Captain America should face? Also, what do you think he should name his new enchanted armor? Post your best names and ideas in the comments below, and maybe we'll include them in the next chapter. And if you want to see this Asgardian Cap in action, hit that like button and subscribe for more daily videos. He clenches his fists, and a shimmering blue energy shield materializes from the gauntlets. It looks bigger and stronger than his old one. Steve smiles and says, "I like it." He puts on the greaves and stomps his foot. A wave of energy erupts from the greaves, causing the ground to shake. Steve laughs and says, "This is going to take some getting used to." He says that he needs something special, something that fits his fighting style and represents his beliefs. The dwarves exchange glances, and one of them says, "You want something unique, something small, yet powerful, like a punch from a bear." Steve asks what they mean by that, and the dwarf says, "Oh, nothing. Just a nickname we have for our most dangerous warriors." "Don't worry, Captain. We know exactly what you mean." And now, in the present, the Unipower is searching for a worthy hero to grant even greater powers to. They tell Steve that these will allow him to project energy shields from his hands and feet while also absorbing the impact of any incoming attacks. The dwarves finish drawing the plans and tell Steve that they need to start mining the materials right away. "Don't worry," they say. "It shouldn't take too long." Alright, so how do you upgrade an iconic character with over 80 years of comic book history? The dwarves use a special device to extract the essence of the star, which glows brightly with the energy of 1,000 suns. Once they have enough, they load it into the cosmic forge and begin heating it up with the power of the Unipower. The whole place starts shaking, and the dwarves quickly get to work hammering the blueprints of Steve's new armor into stone tablets. These will serve as a template for the forge to follow and ensure that the armor turns out exactly how they want it to. At that moment, the Unipower suddenly appears before them and says, "Thor Odinson, son of Odin." You have proven yourself to be a mighty warrior and a noble leader, but the time has come for me to find a new champion. Odin rises from his throne and says in a booming voice, "We have brought you here for a purpose, soldier. Your shield is strong, but against cosmic threats, you will need a weapon of the gods." The camera pans over to Thor, who seems unhappy with the prospect of sharing the spotlight with another hero. Steve notices this and says, "Is there a problem, friend? You seem upset that I'm here?" Thor grunts and responds, "Do not misunderstand me, Captain. You are a legend and a true hero, but you have no idea what you're up against. Those who stand with us against the darkness of the cosmos are few and far between. You must be sure you're ready before pledging your allegiance to Asgard and the Avengers. I seek a hero whose heart resonates with the ideals of courage, justice, and freedom, a true paragon of good." Just then, the Bifrost activates behind Thor, and out steps none other than Captain America. Still wearing his iconic uniform from 1945? Well, the answer may be simpler than you think. All we really have to do is take inspiration from some of our favorite stories in the MCU. Because imagine the amount of mind-bending possibilities that exist when you throw time travel and alternate universes into the mix. Or when Thor visited the same forge, he requested a new weapon to replace Stormbreaker, which was destroyed during the Battle of Endgame. The weapon that the dwarves made for Thor was called Jarnby, which literally means iron, bear in Old Norse. That's where I got the idea to give Captain America bear-themed gauntlets and greaves. Get it, because he's the first Avenger and all the other Avengers after him technically his backups, right? I thought that was pretty funny. But anyways, those weapons were made possible thanks to the heart of the universe, a power source that grants whoever possesses it control over the cosmos. But after they settled their differences, Steve Rogers of the future helped his past self get better equipped for the battles ahead. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information about this storyline other than it's a part of the Captain America now. Since this series was released after Endgame, I'm going to assume that the writers were referring to Steve Rogers of the past, when he got help from his future counterpart. For example, Black Panther was given a ceremonial spear by his people before he entered the forge of the dwarves in Nidavellir to claim his new suit of armor. And speaking of the heart of the universe, let us go ahead and begin our story with a quick flashback to when it was split in half. Meanwhile, deep within the legendary forge of Nidavellir, Thor is sitting on a stone throne next to Odin, having just received his new weapon. Everyone is shocked to see Steve Rogers standing in front of him, and he looks around in amazement as he takes in the majestic view of Asgard. As the scene comes to a close, Odin interrupts and tells Thor to show Steve the legendary forge. Now, as soon as Steve arrives at the forge, dwarves gather around him and ask questions about where he is from and why he came to the planet. Now, the dwarves get to work pulling out blueprints for a set of enchanted metallic gauntlets and greaves, which are basically arm and leg. And with that, the scene transitions to a montage of Steve helping the dwarves mine the heart of a dying star for Odin, the same metal used to forge Mjolnir and other Asgardian weapons. The dwarves chant an ancient spell as they work, calling upon the spirits of the elements to imbue the metal with the strength of the mountains. The scene fades to black and we hear Steve say, "I won't let you down." Now, the next thing we see is the finished product. The scene transitions to an Asgardian training yard, where Steve is getting ready to test out his new gear, as the narrator says. And that's all for now.